And welcome to Pulp Mythos. I'm Brian here with Spencer and Larry, and we're going to be talking about the Righteous Gemstones Season 2, Episode number 6. If you've not hit the sub button, please do so. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let's start with the end. Full spoilers ahead. Eli gets shot. A bunch. And it's funny because my initial thought was slam your brakes on because they'll go far enough out and so they'll be less accurate. But that's not how it went down. He gets shot. When I saw him get shot in the arm, I was like, but when I saw him get shot in the chest, I was like, oh no. But there is in the preview, it shows that he's like in the hospital. So I don't think he's necessarily dead. And we know there's a third season. He could be, but this could be a Tony Soprano situation. A reference Larry won't get. No, but yeah, just the ending. What did you guys think? And I think it's the listens. I'm still standing by that even now.
I agree. I 100% agree. I believe it's the listens also. It just doesn't seem like Junior style. And like you mentioned before, we saw what Junior sent. He sent like a big wrestler. And I feel like even if he was going to send a mob-related guy, to attack him, that it would be a big guy to like break his thumbs or something, or to send him some kind of warning. He wouldn't send 4 guys to gun him down just for hurting his feelings.
Well, and it seems not his style. When like you said, you had this wrestler throwing tomatoes at his windshield and coming out and doing this whole wrestling speech. It seems more like Junior would operate on intimidation and that kind of muscle, like somebody big, or even if what Torsten, or what was the guy's name? It was Torsten, right?
Yeah.
The big dude who picked up the cross.
It's Torsten.
Yeah. So it would have been somebody like him that would come out and try to intimidate Eli as opposed to bikers all dressed in black trying to shoot him up. It seems not Junior style. So the listens seems to be the most logical, or it could be something completely unrelated we don't know about yet. It's Eli seems to not be on the up and up with how he made his money. So it could be something completely unrelated, but the listens seem to be the most obvious.
Because we still don't know who killed the journalist. And that was wild and confusing as far as who could have pulled that off. So there absolutely could be a third entity,
It just hit me, and I don't see anything else that connects them. But guy, like a bunch of skinny folks on motorcycles, and automatic weapons. Who do we know that, probably being because they're a part of this family, definitely knows how to shoot an automatic weapon? And who do we start the series with riding a dirt bike? Gideon. I don't see why it would be Gideon. It doesn't make sense that it would be Gideon, but
Gideon has a little crew.
He fits the profile physically. Like, now, if we're about to get a backstory episode to show, how Gideon weaves into all, and we haven't seen him since, but I doubt it's him. I'm just swinging wild there, and he fits the profile.
What if he finds something in his house that leads him? Yeah, I don't know. That's wild, but you are right about the bike thing. Like, what if that was like a foreshadowing?
And you mentioned in the house, like you said, he could have found something in his great grandfather's house that would cause him to do this. What, I don't know, but physically, at least the frame of these people on the bikes, Gideon kind of fits the profile.
Or even the crew he was running with in season 1 that was trying to extort, his dad. Maybe they are trying to come back and extort, or,
I think a lot of them are dead.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The girl lived.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're all stuntmen. They were a
stuntman crew. That's right. Huh. Now you got me thinking Gideon's involved. You would need almost a whole. You're right, though. You would need an episode that would lay out what happened that we didn't see, and sort of explain it. That could work.
And it's weird that since episode 1 or 2, we haven't seen Gideon.
Like only a few times. That's a good theory. Yeah, man. Uyal brought up Torsten, so let's jump into that. So, Kelvin loses power. He loses his crew. Keith is there for him. He's trying his best to keep him in good spirits and help him out, but it doesn't work out. He loses everything. And then the more important scene, though, I think was the final scene he was in, where Eli comes to talk to him and he yells at him, go away. And now Eli is, potentially dead or in a bad situation. And so how is Kelvin going to deal with that? And is that going to motivate him, push him to, reaffirm his control? And, how is that going to affect Kelvin?
I don't know. We were predicting the whole God Squad versus Junior's wrestling crew before, but now it's not even their God Squad. They basically got kicked out of their own crew, and he's not even living in his own house currently. So I am curious to see if this is how they tie Junior's crew back in, because I don't think Junior's crew is trying to kill Eli, but Jesse took his whole crew down and talked shit to Junior, but I think that Eli may turn to Junior to get Torsten and all the God Squad off of his property. And I think that that's how Junior's crew is going to come back, not necessarily with that. And then it's going to drive an even bigger wedge between Eli and Junior, because I think that it could very easily, Eli finds out what Jesse did. And then he may turn to Jesse and be like, hey, get these people off your brother's property. And Jesse having this newfound, I don't want to confidence, I guess, that he can try and intimidate some people. He might try and intimidate the whole God Squad off, and then Jesse and his crew of people get their asses beat.
Well, yeah, because Jesse is the one with the most common sense out of the three of them. So he might just, tell Kelvin, he's like, dumbass, you pay them, kick them out of your house, or fire Torsten, kick them out of your house. You're the money. You're the guy funding this whole thing. These people still want to get paid. You're still in control. The image is whatever you want it to be. But as far as Junior, I love that you mentioned that, because, my thought is, if you think about it from Junior's perspective, them showing up with those slings and trying to intimidate him and throwing rocks at him and tipping over bikes and crap, that was all about him having a wrestler throw a tomato at a car. From Junior's perspective,
Yeah.
which is,
oh, go ahead.
Oh, which is why he's like, damn, Jesse, you're hardcore, man. You're like your daddy was back in the day.
Well, what was so great about that sequence was fun, but the lead up to it was multiple scenes in which Jesse felt deflated because he was attacked. He fired a bunch of rounds. He missed. And yet his wife, Amber, was able to hit one of the cyclists. And so that became a running gag through the entire episode. I mean, some of the greatest little clips ever, as far as Jesse, his reaction and being pissed off, whether it was with the congregation or whether it was with his own sons. It really rubbed him raw. So he formed his little crew and, went after Junior.
Yeah,
that was great.
It really was.
Because it just, took his whole idea of masculinity away from him when she was the one that hit him. And clearly it was her. And she was such a better shot. And he just came out shooting all over the place, not controlling the recoil, and wasn't even close at all. And she just comes out, which I didn't see coming at all, but it gave her, oh shit, what if what if Eli got her to get all of the God Squad off of the, oh, that'd be so great. If a whole woman's crew of females who are great shots came over to the God Squad and started pulling guns out and scaring them, that would be so good.
It might be her that handles these cyclists. You know, we may get a scene where they're, you know, assaulting their mansion or something, and she's just like going through the house, taking them out, John Wick style.
And that was a carryover from season 1, wasn't it? Yeah. Didn't she do some target practicing?
Yeah, she started shooting again, and she was amazing. She shot Jesse.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. We get an interesting scene with Judy. First of all, I loved her freaking out about baby Billy's wife staying with her, and she cleans everything with vinegar. So good. But at first she's, irritated by her, but then, she starts to open up to her, and she explains to her about baby Billy running out on Harmon and just sort of who he is, what kind of guy he is. And it was a nice little bonding moment, and I'm curious to where that's leading. I'm curious where the baby Billy storyline is leading. I hope he returns this season. I hope he's not out until season 3.
I think that he's not so much abandoning them as much as he's, leaving to go find his son and make things right with him. Yeah, I think that's where his plot line might be going.
Yeah, I'd be into that.
In fact, we mentioned Gideon. It may not be Gideon. It may be baby Billy's son who's doing all this. That may be your shooter, or at least who's in charge of this crew.
I think that wouldn't be far-fetched, just because he would have a bone to pick with Eli, just because his dad probably always talked shit about Eli when he was growing up. I think that would be it wouldn't be hard to justify how that happened. But I think that, I don't know. I really do think that Keith is Harmon. I don't, because they never really talk shit about Keith being there. They always talk about how he's one of the people that they always take care of. And I think that to me would make the most sense as to why he's even there and why they even put up with Keith. He's just kind of a weird guy, but I think that Harmon is Keith personally, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Harmon is behind a whole bunch of other shit, because he's lived a life where his dad made Eli out to be this giant piece of shit, but then just abandoned him. So it would be interesting, like you just said, to have him basically have a redemption arc where he's going to find Harmon or, do something like that. So I don't know. I think baby Billy's would make the ultimate villain come season 3 and kind of tie up the whole Listens and Junior storyline this season, and then leave baby Billy for season 3 and have him be the ultimate villain. But I don't know.
Well, I think there's a chance for both, to be honest. I think not that Harmon's the shooter, because that's far-fetched, but also possible, but I think that baby Billy's going to look for Harmon, and I think his best bet of finding that is finding Harmon's mother, and he'll find Harmon's mother, and through finding her, we'll find out that Keith is Harmon. That Harmon's been there the whole time. I mean, because it's
strings.
Yeah, well, not necessarily. Yeah, well, it's just like, it's just the sort of thing, like the Harmon storyline. It feels like it has to go somewhere, unless they're gonna keep feeding us breadcrumbs until we get to a season 3, where it's revealed, like, oh, Keith is Harmon, or this is what Harmon's been doing.
I think And more in the Keith and Kelvin are going to be a couple at some point.
Well, that's why I'm piecing it together this way, because I think that you're right, but I also think that Spencer's right, that they don't know that Keith is Harmon, and Baby Billy doesn't know, but through finding his mother and trying to make amends, he's going to find out.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that the whole incestual stuff, I think that one of the family members is going to find out that they're sleeping with their cousin. Whether it's BJ, which I don't think it is, but I think that they're going to find out afterwards. I think that Eli knows that Keith is Harmon, but I don't think the rest of the family knows. And I think that the whole Calvin and Keith situation becoming a relationship, I don't think is that far fetched. I think that that is very much a possibility, but I don't think that they're going to find out that that's Harmon until after they have a relationship.
Yeah.
The BJ scene was interesting this week. You know, he went to have a sit down with Eli, and he shook his hand. And I love the fact that not only was he so excited that he got that handshake, that was the moment of you're part of this. He runs back to tell Judy, he shook my hand, and so that got me thinking about, if Eli is down and out, whether or not he's, in a coma or killed off or whatever they do with Eli, he's clearly not going to be, in prime shape for possibly the remainder of the season. Who's in charge? And does he have? I'm curious what his will says. And you have the dynamic of Judy and BJ. You have Kelvin. You have Jesse and Amber. And you also have what is it? What is his banker?
Oh yeah.
Talking about Martin.
Martin. You have Martin. He's a close. You would assume he's going to leave it all to somebody he trusts. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Sort of the power struggle that's around the corner, possibly.
Well, yeah, because even if Eli is on his deathbed from this and doesn't make it, or makes it out of this whole entire situation, everybody being prepared for him dying, the listens coming down and tried to put a bug in Jesse's ear, being like, "Hey, man, aren't you taking this over? Aren't you saying? Didn't you say if he didn't make it, or if he's not in the picture, you would be the one?" So Jesse's going to start vying for power. Calvin is he going to finally step up, because the God Squad basically just neutered him, and now you have Keith being like, I'm your right hand, and they're going to push their relationship forward, and then Calvin's going to want to show Keith that he can take charge and put the God Squad in their place. And what better way to do that than to get all the power of the church? Meanwhile, you have Judy, who's been trying to show that she's the strongest, that her and BJ are the ones that have the best relationship, that they're supposed to be in charge. Judy finally trying to get power. Meanwhile, you got baby Billy over here, who's been this entire time trying to become the one after his sister's passing to be the gemstone. Who's going to end up being the person who rises to the top when Eli is on his deathbed is going to be a huge power vacuum.
Yeah, and it could be that. It could be, like you said, a 3, potentially 4-way fight between all these people, or it could very much be Jesse going, "I'm in charge now. Everybody fall in line." Kelvin, I'm not paying these. I'm not paying these morons to live in your house and do whatever they want. So either fall in line, or you're fired, all of you. And he just goes through everybody's house laying down the law, and then we get to see Kelvin and God, I forgot the sister's name just now.
Judy.
Judy. Yeah. And Kelvin and Judy retaliating against Jesse, while Jesse is legitimately in charge. It'll be hard to say. Like you said, it depends on if Eli left any instructions or if he put Martin in charge even.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I was really wondering, like, who would he put, who would he want to have power if he was taken out? And would he think about that? I was just checking. This was episode 6, so we got 3 more. I'm gonna read the titles. The next episode will be titled, where is it? Blah, blah, blah. And infants shall rule over them. Episode 8, the prayer of a righteous man. And then the final episode of the season, I will tell of all your deeds. And infants shall rule over them.
That one.
That's the next one.
That one sort of says some things. The others are hard to tell. And infants will rule over them definitely seems like it's about Eli's kids being in charge and what the church turns into with them, trying to take his place while he's infirmed.
Yeah, 100%.
They're all such a mess.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's all my notes. Anything else?
No. Like I said, it's a guessing game right now, but I think that it's going to be fun watching it. And like Larry just said, I think that this next one is going to be, we just mentioned the big power vacuum. Seeing which person tries to step up and take charge is going to be very interesting.
Well, yeah, and I think ultimately, especially if Eli's benched for this season, because we haven't seen so much of Gideon, it may be him stepping up in these episodes too, because he's just kind of been home, enjoying being a rich kid and doing the things in the church that his father wants him to do. So we may see him stepping up, in his position and preparing to be the next Eli, like his father kind of wants him to be. And like as far as who the shooters are, I'm mostly on board with your idea of it being the listens. And if not the listens, maybe a throwback to Gideon's old stunt crew.
Yeah, I like that theory. Because so what I'm really think it is, I still think it's the listens, but they've been out of the picture, and I think they'll come back in now that Eli is down. But that stunt crew thing that could tie into. I don't think the listens were responsible for taking out the journalist. Now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is both things, but I think there is a third group, and it's not Junior. Junior is just to throw everyone off. So Gideon somehow being involved, that could maybe. It is interesting. He was such a big deal in season 1, and he's just not really been there in season 2.
Maybe the listens hired Gideon's crew. Maybe they're tied together.
It could be, it could be the sort of thing because, like I said, we had that third party that left hating both Gideon and her boyfriend, the crazy guy from season 1, who was part of that crew, and who knows what sort of machination she's got cooking up, if anything, because she left hating both him and Gideon. And if anybody's going to kill that journalist, I see a third party because, like you said, it doesn't seem like it would benefit the listens a whole lot to kill that journalist.
Yeah, at that point, and I'm just thinking of the firepower too. Whoever the hell did that.
Yeah, I was talking about the Gideon's crew being the listens shooting up Eli.
Yeah,
the people who blew up.
Oh, okay.
Whatever, I don't know. The people who essentially eradicated that entire house. Like, I don't know who that could be. Shit.
Just wanted to piece everything together, and it's like, well, who killed the journalist? And Martin's just like, oh no, that was Eli.
That was he's out there with a minigun. But yeah, very very interested to see where this is going. You know, how these next 3 episodes will play out. Yeah. So check out our other stuff. We got 1883 up. We got Raised by Wolves. Big Skies right around the corner coming back. We got Snowfall coming up. So a lot of content on the channel. Appreciate everyone listening.
Bye.
Bye.